In this video, I want to show you how you can use the table on your TI calculator to find factor pairs of a given number. And by a factor pair, what I mean is two numbers that will multiply to a certain given number. And this might come in handy if you're trying to factor trinomials using what's called the grouping or sometimes called the AC method. So let's say that you are trying to factor this trinomial that you see over here using the grouping or the AC method. And you know that the first thing that you need to do using this method is to multiply A and C in the trinomial. So A in this case is 42 and C is the last constant term that you see, positive 20 over here. So when you multiply A and C in this case, you're going to get 840 that you see here. The next thing that you need to do is to look for a pair of two numbers that will multiply to 840. But not only that, those two numbers will have to add to 59, which is the middle term coefficient over here. So of all the pairs of two numbers that will multiply to 840, we need to be able to look for the right pair that's going to add to 59. And since in this case, 840 and 59 are pretty big, finding the right pair may seem like a daunting task. But this is where the table on your TI calculator is going to come in handy. So to use the table on your TI calculator to find the right factor pair, this is what I would like you to do. The first thing is to press Y equals button. So press Y equals. And right next to Y1 equals, this is what I want you to type. 840, divide that by X. Now what this is going to allow us to do is to look for whatever whole numbers that will divide 840 nice and even. Now before we go to the table to look for the right factor pair, we need to make sure that the table is set up correctly. So to do that, you need to press the second key, that's the blue button. So second, and press window button. That should bring you to this table setup menu. So on your calculator, please make sure that the table setup is exactly the same way that you see here. So table start equals, that line should be 1. And in the second line, little triangle table equals, that value should be 1. And the last two lines, make sure that the auto is highlighted instead of ask. Okay, so now we're ready to look at the table. So to go to the table, you need to press second and the graph button. So press graph. That should take you to the table. Now this is how you need to look at the table. Each row in the table represents a factor pair of 840. So for example, in the first row, you see 1 and 840, but 1 times 840 is 840, so you can see that it's a factor pair. And in the second row, you see 2 and 420, and 2 times 420 is also 840, so that is a factor pair. But remember what we're trying to do here. We're not looking for any old factor pair of 840. We have to be able to look for the right one, whose sum is 59. So at this point, we have to keep going down, scroll down on this table until we encounter the right one. And to scroll down, all you need to do is to press the down arrow button. So let's keep going down till we get to the right one. 7 and 120, that is not the right pair. Now you're going to see that the sum of these values will contain decimal values, and that means that we can simply just ignore those values because we have to be able to look for two whole numbers that will multiply to 840. And you see that right now we have 10 and 84. The sum is 94, so we have to keep going. We have 15 and 56. the sum is not 59, so we still have to keep going. 20 and 42, the sum is 62, so we're getting closer, but not quite there yet. So let's keep going. And now we see 24 and 35. And that is the right factored pair because 24 plus 35 is 59. So this is what you can do to use the table to look for factored pairs of a given number. But now that we have the right factored pair of 840, you might want to try to finish factoring that trinomial that we used as an example. And if you're wondering about the right answer, you should get 6x plus 5 as one of the factors and 7x plus 4 as the other factor. Now before we finish this video, I want to tell you one more thing. In order for you to get out of that table screen and go back to the main screen, what you need to do is to press second and the mode key, which is quit, and this should bring you back to the main screen on your calculator. Okay, so this is it for this tutorial video. I hope you find this useful.